commented underneath that video, "We want to see Steph make 12 threes a game. Stop grabbing him, please."
Steph Curry's inner circle just sent the internet into a frenzy. His personal shooting coach has been posting Caitlin Clark nonstop, and now Steph himself has stepped into the moment, literally rocking her Nike shoes. It's a quiet cosign that's anything but subtle, and fans are starting to realize this isn't random hype. When the greatest shooter ever starts amplifying Caitlin Clark, it might be bigger than basketball. Now there's real evidence this goes even deeper. Caitlin Clark may actually be working out with Steph Curry's personal shooting coach, and at the same time, she just left a comment on Steph's interview that has everyone reading between the lines. The connection between these two keeps getting stronger, and the timing is very interesting for more than a few reasons. Before we break it all down, quick question. If Caitlin Clark is training with the greatest shooter's shooting coach during the off-season, does that make her even more dangerous next season? Or is this just off-season hype? Drop your thoughts below, because this connection matters. Caitlin has been active on social media lately, which isn't unusual, but one comment stopped people in their tracks. Steph Curry was interviewed after a game where the Hornets were face-guarding him like their lives depended on it. The clip went viral, and Caitlin jumped into the comments. Her message? "We want to see Steph make 12 threes a game. Stop grabbing him, please."
I've seen it, but Caitlin Clark commented underneath that video, "We want to see Steph make 12 threes a game. Stop grabbing him, please." And she never really, she would say when something was a foul or to, a complaint to that ilk. But Caitlin hasn't come out and said, what they're doing isn't basketball.
On the surface, it looks like nothing more than one star supporting another. But when you're Caitlin Clark and you make that specific comment about that exact issue, people pay attention. Grabbing, holding, and constant physical harassment on the perimeter has been one of the defining storylines of Caitlin's WNBA experience so far. That's why her words hit differently. And that's where Steph's interview becomes important. When Steph was asked if it bothers him being defended the way the Hornets guarded him, his answer was spot on. He admitted part of him fights it because, in his words, it's not real basketball. But at the same time, he said it's flattering because it shows the level of attention he commands and how that attention opens the floor and creates shots for his teammates. That perspective sounds familiar for a reason.
Does it bother you in any way being guarded the way they did in a regular season game too?
There's a part of you that fights it just because it's not real basketball, but there's also a part of it that's flattering. Just knowing that you demand that much attention, and also what it does to create shots for other guys on the floor. So, and I've seen it all, so I know if that's how they want to guard, how I can be effective, not let it take me out of the game, but also kind of use it to our advantage as a team. And then it's also funny at times just how egregious it is. There's one possession, I gotta find I actually get the footage. I actually stayed back in the backcourt a long time on purpose just to see how long Sion would stay with me. So that was a fun one.
Yeah, there was a clip of Colin Sexton covering you when you left the court.
Yeah, we both knew what we were doing. We were having fun.
Last one.
That phrase, "it's not real basketball," is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Steph wasn't complaining. He was being diplomatic. What he was really saying is that when defenses resort to grabbing, holding, and face guarding instead of actually playing defense, it stops being legitimate basketball strategy. It's desperation disguised as physicality. And Caitlin Clark knows that feeling better than anyone. She lived it during her first WNBA season. From opening night, she was blitzed more than any other player in the league. Defenses sent 2, sometimes 3 defenders at her the moment she crossed half court. She was grabbed, held, bumped, and pushed on nearly every possession. So when Caitlin reacts to Steph's comments, it doesn't feel random. It feels personal.
Caitlin Clark, and you get the attention that she does, you're going to get outsized defensive attention. In a rookie season, she was blitzed more to start that year than any team. A lot of that is strategy. They know what she can do. They know where she has the ball, all that stuff. But then there's part of it like trying to prove a point against her. And then, of course, when you want to rough up the other team's star, that's what coaches preach. If the refs are going to let you do it, you do it. It's something that became a point of contention across her WNBA career so far, with Stephanie White, who probably deployed that strategy with the Connecticut Sun, saying that too much contact is allowed on the perimeter. And that's a thing across the WNBA, and it became a theme across the WNBA. But, Caitlin is allowed to be grabbed and held and all those things, even to the point where I remember there was a broadcast where Rebecca Lobo pointed out, like, there's a foul, and there's a foul, and there's a foul. Like, oh.
Some of that defense is legitimate. When you're guarding the best shooter on the floor, you adjust your coverage. You send help. You deny touches. That's basketball. But some of what Caitlin Clark faced crossed the line into contact that would be called a foul in almost any other context, and the WNBA refs largely let it happen. Even Stephanie White, who's now coaching Caitlin in Indiana, but coached against her in Connecticut last season, admitted that too much contact is allowed on the perimeter across the league. Rebecca Lobo went even further on a broadcast, pointing out uncalled fouls on Caitlin in rapid succession, like Oprah giving away cars. You get a foul. You get a foul. You get a foul. What's interesting is that Caitlin herself has mostly stayed quiet. She's spoken up about specific moments, like the Kennedy Carter shoulder check that was clearly not a basketball play, but she hasn't gone on record calling the way she's defended not real basketball. She hasn't turned it into a public crusade the way some players and coaches have. That's why her comment on Steph's interview matters. When Caitlin says, "Stop grabbing him," she's not just defending Steph Curry. She's speaking for herself without ever making it about herself. It's smart. It's diplomatic. And it lands harder because of it. She makes the point without sounding like she's whining or asking for special treatment. And she's right. People do want to see Steph make 12 threes a game. That's why he sells out arenas, moves jerseys in every city, and has signature shoes people line up to buy. His shooting is what makes him special. When defenses resort to grabbing him just to stop that, the game becomes worse for everyone watching. The same exact logic applies to Caitlin Clark. Fans want to see her pull from 30 feet, hit step-back threes, and thread impossible passes. That's what makes her special. That's why attendance doubled when she played. That's why her games got national TV slots. When defenses are allowed to mug her and refs swallow the whistle, the product suffers. The WNBA has oddly spun excessive physicality as a badge of honor, as if more grabbing somehow makes the league tougher or more legitimate. But that logic is backwards. The NBA intentionally doesn't allow that level of holding and face guarding because they understand something fundamental. People tune in to watch offensive brilliance, not defensive mugging. And this isn't just Caitlin saying it. Kelsey Plum has complained about it. Becky Hammon has complained about it. Natalie Nakase has complained about it. Stephanie White has complained about it. It's a league-wide issue that directly affects perimeter players, especially elite shooters. What makes this moment different is that Caitlin hasn't been loud about it publicly, until now. She's been diplomatic, probably because she knows complaining about officiating can make you look soft or like you're making excuses. But commenting on Steph's situation gives her cover to make the exact same point without ever pointing the finger at herself. And then there's the rest of the connection that has people talking. Steph recently wore Caitlin's Nike shoes. His personal shooting coach has been posting about her online. And based on context clues, there's a very real possibility Caitlin is working out with Steph Curry's shooting coach this offseason. We don't have official confirmation, but the evidence is suggestive. And if it's true, that's not just interesting. That's a massive development. The Kennedy Carter play was the clearest example. That wasn't defense. It was a cheap shot. And Caitlin called it out as not a basketball play. But the more subtle grabbing that happens every possession is harder to complain about without being labeled soft or whiny. So instead, she made her point another way. By commenting on Steph's situation, she spoke up without making it about herself. She supported another star dealing with the same issue. But anyone paying attention knows she was talking about her own experience too. We want to see Steph make 12 threes a game. That line says everything because that's exactly what fans want from Caitlin as well. They want the 30-footers, the step-backs, the records, the offensive brilliance. If the WNBA wants to grow, and expansion plans and media deals show that it does, then it has to let its stars shine. That doesn't mean eliminating physicality. It means finding the right balance so elite players can showcase what makes them special. And if Caitlin Clark is truly working with Steph Curry's shooting coach this offseason, that synergy is only going to get stronger.